Alright, in this video, this is my first woodworking video, but that's it. Besides that, this is going to be 4 tips and tricks when using the Kreg router table. As you're using the Kreg router table as a joiner, you're obviously going to be using the fence and when I use the dust collection, but whenever you use the dust collection, you're going to need a big shop vac or like a bigger vacuum because this thing produces so much dust. But there is one good thing. There's like no dust that goes at the bottom. Whenever you put this vacuum on it, almost all the dust gets sucked up, besides like the fine particles, but everything gets sucked up in your shop vac. All right, so another tip when using the Kreg router table as a joiner is to use a very tall bit. I mean, it obviously has to be bigger than however thick your wood is, and you want like you don't want to obviously curve one, you want a straight one, and then like I use this Frood one. It's like $40, but yeah, and you want to make sure this bearing is below. You see this bearing down here? You want to make sure that it is below this red thing, because if it isn't, then you're literally not going to be cutting off anything when you're joining. It's basically pointless. All right, another tip is to make sure that this part right here is lower than this side, because, well, obviously, if this side isn't lower, it's not going to make a joiner. I'm not going to discuss that in this video. You guys can go figure that out. But, yeah, so, and whenever you do this, you want to make sure that whenever you're sliding your board through, you want to pull your board this way and, like, pull it through this way. And whenever you're doing that, practice on a scrap board first, because if you do it on your main board and then it messes up, because sometimes whenever I do this, it messes it up, and the board will literally, like you're right along here, and then right whenever it gets to the end, it pulls in, and then you have like a 1/4-inch divot in your board, and you don't want that. So yeah, if you just ride that around and you need to fine tune it, there's a thing. I'm gonna get you guys off here real quick. There's a thing over here, and you have to make sure this thing's locked. It's like a little lever, because if that isn't locked, then your whole thing's gonna be moving. Your whole thing is gonna be moving side to side like that, and you don't want that. Alrighty, so those are all the tips and tricks I have for this video. But hang on, don't go away. I'm going to test it out and show you guys how it works. Alright, so I'm about to plane this board. You can see it's very rough. Both sides, they're very rough. So this isn't fake. And yeah, okay, headphone users and earbud users, you guys might want to turn down the volume a lot, because this is going to be very loud. See that? That's perfect. There is no 1/4-inch divot. There's absolutely nothing. It's perfect. You can see the other side. It's the same board. I never cut the video. And yeah, so now what I'll do after this step, because these are charcuterie boards, if you guys haven't seen my previous video on the Wyland Woodworks, I'm going to put this on a table saw, and we're going to rip the edge down, and yeah. All right, so now time for the roundup. And so the 4 tips and tricks that we learned today is you want to make sure that you have a good dust collector hooked on the back, because obviously it sucks up all the dust, and you don't want any dust because you don't want that to get in your lungs. Second, you want to make sure that your black thing in the back is locked, because obviously if that's not locked, then your fence is going to be going back and forth. And if it's going back and forth, your board, it's basically not a joiner. It's pointless. And then another tip, the third tip is that you want to make sure you have a very tall bit, because if you have a short one, then it's hard to like get it tuned right, and it'd be easier just if you have a taller bit. And then the fourth and final last tip is to make sure that you practice on a practice board before your final board, because if you mess up, well, you don't want to mess up. So if you practice on a practice board first, then you won't mess up your final project. And then also, I would like to hear you guys' feedback in the comments. And if you guys made it all the way to the end, start your comment with the letter L. And then I'll respond to your guys' comments first. And yeah, and I want to hear you guys' feedback if you guys like the video, if I should post more of this, what I should change, anything like that. And thank you guys for watching, and bye.